The first arrow did not start the war, it revealed it. Because once blood touched the soil of Aurelian, there was no going back. The conflict had been simmering for years, a silent poison in the veins of the land. Now, with the sharp crack of a bowstring and the thud of an arrow finding its mark, the fever had broken. The tyranny surged forward like a black tidal wave, a relentless mass of iron and fury. They weren't here to fight a battle of equals. They came to crush, to obliterate, to erase Aurelian from the maps of men. Their shields locked together, forming an impenetrable wall of steel, a moving fortress designed to grind down any resistance. Their blades rose as one, a forest of sharpened metal glinting under the pale, frightened moon. They marched with a terrifying, rhythmic stomp that shook the very ground. And then the ground answered first. With a deafening roar, Chaos traps ignited beneath their feet. Columns of fire erupted from the earth, consuming the front ranks in a horrific inferno. Men who were marching with disciplined fury moments before were now just screaming torches. The perfect formation shattered into chaos and panic. But the tyranny did not stop. They never did. They trampled their own wounded, their own burning comrades, their discipline overriding even the most primal instinct for survival. The wave of iron pressed on, a hydra growing 2 heads for every one that was severed. Amidst the swirling chaos, Blade moved before thought. He was a whisper of death, a blur of motion in the heart of the storm. Every strike was precise, a masterclass in deadly economy. There was no wasted motion, no flourish, no mercy begged, and certainly none given. A flick of the wrist, a severed tendon, a quick pivot, a blade through a gullet. He did not shout battle cries. He did not rage against the dying of the light. He fought with the cold, detached focus of a man who was already dead, a ghost haunting his own body with nothing left to lose. An enemy soldier lunged from behind, his spear aimed for Blade's exposed back. Without even turning his head, Blade's arm snapped back, his elbow connecting with the soldier's throat, crushing it instantly. He flowed from one enemy to the next, a reaper harvesting a grim crop. From a rise overlooking the melee, the tyranny commander watched him closely, his eyes narrowed. He recognized the threat. Warriors like Blade were not common. They weren't just skilled. They were dangerous anomalies, capable of turning the tide of a battle through sheer indomitable will. While Blade was a scalpel, carving through the enemy's heart, Thorn was the hammer, holding the last line of defense. At the main gate, he became a legend in the making. His massive warhammer rose and fell with the unstoppable rhythm of a smith at his forge. Each bone-shattering strike sent men flying like broken dolls, their armor crumpling like paper. The tyranny swarmed him, a pack of wolves trying to bring down a great bear. They stabbed him with spears. They slashed at him with swords. They even tried to set his cloak ablaze with torches. He did not move. He was a mountain of flesh and iron, rooted to the earth. With a voice that boomed over the din of battle, he roared, "You shall not pass." And for now, the gate held, barely. High above the slaughter, perched on the tallest watchtower, Lyra saw everything. The battlefield was a tapestry of desperation woven before her eyes. Her archer's gaze could pick out every detail. She saw Thorn, a giant against the tide. She saw Kale darting between shadows, setting new traps. And she saw Blade, a lone wolf surrounded by enemies. Her heart screamed to protect him. She could rain down arrows, clear a path for him, give him a moment to breathe. But then her eyes caught movement on the far road. A small, desperate group of villagers, women and children who hadn't made it inside the walls in time, were fleeing into the woods. A detachment of Tyranny cavalry had spotted them and was closing in for the kill. Lyra had only seconds to make an impossible choice: protect the man she loved or save the innocent. She took a deep, shuddering breath, a silent apology whispered on the wind. Her aim shifted. Her arrows turned away from the main battlefield. One by one, the Tyranny riders on the road tumbled from their saddles, her arrows finding their mark with lethal precision. Blade would have to survive without her. The Tyranny, however, were not a mindless horde. A series of deep, guttural horn blows echoed across the valley. The assault changed. They adapted. They always did. The frontline soldiers pulled back, and new units pushed forward heavy infantry, clad in plate armor so thick it seemed impossible to pierce. Behind them, men carrying strange bronze contraptions advanced. Flamethrowers, gouts of liquid fire shot across the field, turning soil to glass and wooden barricades to ash. The land itself began to burn, the air growing thick with smoke and the smell of cooked earth. The Tyranny commander smiled grimly. "Break their will," he ordered, his voice as cold as a winter grave. "The rest will kneel." In the heart of the inferno, Blade was finally beginning to tire. 3 of the heavy infantry had cornered him, their tower shields forming a cage of iron. For the first time, Blade faltered. A moment's hesitation, a fraction of a second too slow. A spear tip found a gap in his armor, piercing his side. A sharp, burning pain radiated through him. The world tilted, the roar of battle fading to a dull hum. Blood stained his armor, hot and sticky. He staggered back, and a Tyranny soldier raised his axe for the final killing blow. Suddenly, an arrow sprouted from the soldier's eye socket. He froze, his axe still held high, before collapsing in a heap. Lyra had returned, her duty to the villagers was done, and now her bow sang for Blade. Just as he regained his footing, a figure appeared beside him. It was Kale, his face smudged with soot. "They're circling us," he said, his voice tense. "They're trying to envelop us completely. We can't hold forever." Blade gritted his teeth against the pain, pressing a hand to his wounded side. "Then we don't hold," he replied, his eyes scanning the battlefield.